It's very important when looking at the bottom of a horse's hoof, having cleaned the dirt out, to recognise the landmarks. The first is to recognise the fact that there's only one point in a horse's hoof which never varies, and that is the active tip of the frog. It may appear to you that the frog is crooked. The frog can only be where it is. So if you see an imbalance in the bottom of a hoof, it's invariably because the hoof capsule has shifted and distorted because of flares. So identifying the active tip of the frog and the critical heel junction where the widest part of the clean frog meets the hoof wall are two reference points. Identify the tip of the frog, like this, and the critical heel junction back here. And find that active tip of the frog in there. And the straight side down here to the critical heel. And don't reduce the top of the frog, just simply line it up down through here to make sure you can see the actual live tip of the frog. The next reference point is after we clean out the old crusty sole with a sharp knife and find the reference point where the clean sole meets the hoof wall and that junction on the white line. Now I can run the tip of this knife right around there to identify that junction and where the clean sole meets the hoof wall. The next thing to realise is the variable thickness in the hoof wall capsule viewed from the bottom. Generally speaking, a hoof wall capsule should be about 4 millimeters thick, even all the way around, outside that white line. There are also two capsules in the horse's hoof, the inner capsule and the outer capsule. The inner capsule invariably shows up in most horses as a white area, the outer capsule being a dark area. Do not confuse this inner white capsule as the white line. The white line is the junction of the clean sole and the hoof wall. Having cleaned out the sole and found the three reference points of the tip of the frog and the critical heel junction of the frog, you will notice either side of the frog, from about the last 2/3 back towards the heel, is the bars of the hoof. These are generally known as the chassis of the heel of the hoof, and because they are the chassis of the heel, they are designed by nature to grow very strong, very quickly, and in fact they grow 30% quicker than the rest of the hoof wall capsule, for this purpose of reinforcing the heel. In nature, these bars, through the horse's movement over different terrain, have always been serviced down to a strong ridge just above the sole. However, in a domestic situation where the horses are unable to travel free across variable terrain, these bars still grow 30% quicker than the rest of the hoof. So in order to maintain and prevent lameness in a horse from these bars becoming weight bearing and causing bruising, we must at this point pare down this bar to a strong, solid structure in the bottom of the hoof. If we don't do this, the bar will grow up, it will fall over towards the outside of the hoof, and in a very short space of time the bars will crack about 1 inch forward of the heel junction. When this cracking occurs, you will either get an abscess in that crack, or you will get a corn in the seat of corn area at the rear of that bar and the junction of the buttress of the heel. So it's important that these bars must be pared down on preparing the sole of the hoof for shoeing or barefoot trimming. When trimming these bars down, and in fact in preparation to cleaning out the whole of the sole, it's quite okay to go down to the bottom of the junction of the clean frog once you've straightened it up from the tip back to the heel, and it's coming out quite easily. because it's ready to come out. All that there, it's just the excess sole. Do not go any further. It's commonly believed that what's above that junction of the live sole frog belongs to me and my knife. What's below that junction belongs to the horse.